Welcome to the Infuse Your Future podcast, where we bring together people and ideas who are making the world a better place. I'm your host, Dr. C. In this podcast, you're going to hear solo episodes with various self-help topics. You're also going to hear guest speakers from all walks of life. If you're ready to experience the power of coaching, set up a complimentary 45-minute consultation with me at infuseyourfuture.com. And be sure to sign up for my mailing list for a free gift. Enjoy the show. Okay, today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. I mean, we've all been there where we're in a position where we don't think we're qualified to be there. It's actually very common, even for professionals, to feel this, especially when we're dealing with challenges in our own lives. But it's important to remember that life is challenging for everybody, even more so for people who are growing and constantly challenging themselves to be better. Well, what do we do if we're experiencing imposter syndrome and we don't want to? Well, I've got some strategies to help you cultivate a positive self-image and gain the confidence to go boldly and confidently into the world despite imposter syndrome. So in this episode, we're going to first talk about acknowledging and understanding it, using some tools to get through it. And the most important of that is something you probably aren't expecting, which is to embrace it. Embrace and invite imposter syndrome in your life. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to tell you why. All right, let's get started. Well, the first step is to understand what imposter syndrome is. Some people have no idea. So what are some signs that you're feeling imposter syndrome? Well, first, you're going to feel doubtful or inadequate despite evidence that you're good at what you do. Or you're going to believe that your success is based on luck or timing or some other external factor that isn't even under your control, instead of believing that it's because of your hard work and dedication. Another sign is the fear that you're going to be exposed as a fraud, even though you're not. And finally, when you're discounting praise from others on jobs well done, rather than using it to fuel or motivate you. Now, once we understand what imposter syndrome is, the next thing is to watch for it. We got to start identifying the triggers that lead to it. Keep a journal. Where are these feelings coming from? What's the underlying cause? Now, once we've identified the triggers, we're going to start using our tools. Come on, we all have them. I mean, if you get to the point where you're feeling imposter syndrome, it means you've come a long way in life and you have tools to get through it. You've got to use those tools to coach yourself to a more realistic view of the situation. Now, what tools am I talking about? We're talking about regular self-reflection, mindfulness practices, meditation, positive self-talk, affirmations, reframing, and of course, action plans. But I mean, the list is endless. There are so many tools out there, and feel free to share one of your tools in the chat. Our ability to coach ourselves is limitless. Now, my favorite tools are reframing and positive self-talk. Reframing a situation always puts it in perspective, and positive self-talk is like a pep talk ahead of time. Let's give an example, okay? Instead of thinking, oh my God, I don't belong here. What am I doing here? Instead think, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I can be here living my life purpose. Or, gosh, all of my hard work is finally paying off. I'm where I am, where I need to be, making an impact in the world. Or, oh my God, this is so much fun, living my dream, showing up. And if you're having difficulties reframing the situation for yourself, try to imagine how you would encourage your best friend. If your best friend came up to you and said, listen, I'm not ready for this. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't be here. How are you going to encourage that friend? Use those techniques on yourself. Another great technique when you're feeling imposter syndrome is if you feel like you're an imposter, imagine who you think should be there in your stead, who the perfect person is. Then imagine what that person feels like. Imagine how they feel to be speaking and acting like the person in your mind that is the perfect person to be there. Then step into that role in your own head. I mean, you're awesome. Embrace it. So one of the big tools to get through imposter syndrome is celebrating your successes. I mean, this can't be stated enough. We've got to focus on our successes and reflect regularly on our progress. Remember the lives you've changed because you've shown up as yourself. Everybody has challenges, especially those at the top of their fields. I mean, tennis pros miss shots all the time. Footballers miss goals or get tackled. The best of the best baseball players have struck out. It's part of the process. These are great players, but they're playing in the big leagues and they aren't perfect. This is part of life. Build yourself up, much like you would do for somebody you love. And write them down. When you write down your successes and review them on a regular basis, weekly if possible, you keep that imposter syndrome in check. It keeps you motivated, keeps you growing and developing instead of hiding in a hole, thinking that you're not someone awesome. Okay. We've also got to set realistic expectations. We've got to understand that success is subjective and it should align with your own values and goals. You got to focus on your own unique journey. Resist comparing yourself to others. We all have our own path, and when we compare ourselves to people who are on a different path, it leads right to imposter syndrome, especially if we have a different style or are in a different stage of our business. We got to keep our eyes on our own path, set realistic goals, and only compare our current self with our past self. And then again, it comes back to celebrating our goals. Like every week, every month, sit down with your goals, celebrate the ones you've achieved, tweak or reframe the ones you didn't quite hit. This way, you're always making progress. It might be forward progress or growth. That brings me to focusing on continuing learning and growth. I mean, let's face it, guys, we are in an information age and there is plenty of it, but this is exciting. We can learn anything from anywhere with the resources available today. The web and social media are essentially a giant library. You can use it to learn meaningful, impactful things or use it for mindless meandering. It's for you to decide. Use your resources to continually update and upgrade your knowledge base and your skills. I mean, we've got books, videos, podcasts, workshops, mini courses, community college, an endless array of learning centers in the US as well as under other countries. Many of them offer virtual learning opportunities. You don't even have to go there. The more you learn, the more skills you have, and the more confident you're going to feel about yourself. Now, another important aspect of our growth, in addition to the education, whether it be formal or self-directed, is constructive feedback. Ask for constructive feedback from trusted clients, from trusted peers. Be sure to ask them for feedback on strengths and weaknesses. And use this as a way to hone your craft and create a better version of you as a person and as a professional. Another important step in getting through imposter syndrome is practicing self-compassion. I mean, you got to treat yourself with the same compassion you offer the people you love. Understand that mistakes are part of the package, part of learning, part of growth. And it's not the challenge itself that matters, but how you handle it. What would you say to a friend who's experiencing imposter syndrome? Use that advice on yourself. Another important tool in this situation is a strong support network. And it doesn't just happen, you got to develop it. A strong support network goes a long way. Get to know other people, other professionals who understand your journey. Reach out to them for ideas or support when needed. And of course, I'm going to put in a plug for life coaches. Hire a life coach, someone who can provide guidance, support, and reassurance when needed. They're going to help you celebrate your victories and walk you through your challenges. Your coach is going to remind you of your awesomeness and reframe the imposter syndrome with you. And of course, it goes without saying, hire a therapist when necessary. They can help you heal old wounds and maintain a healthy mindset if you're struggling. And sometimes it's unresolved trauma that's the sneaky culprit behind imposter syndrome. Authenticity. Remember to be authentic. Be you. Being authentic builds trust with people, including yourself. It helps foster a positive self-image, one you'll love and embrace. Share your journey with people, the highs and the lows. I mean, both are important. The lows show your vulnerability and help others relate to you. The highs motivate people to become better versions of themselves. It's a win-win. Okay, Here's the one many of you have been waiting for. Embrace imposter syndrome. This sounds counterintuitive, but it's perfect. Instead of fearing imposter syndrome and avoiding it, embrace it. Use it to make you a stronger, better version of yourself, to be the awesome person that you are. I mean, imagine coming face to face with your imposter and befriending them, teaming up with them, tackling the world together. It'll be like having two yous. Now, I got this idea from one of my favorite podcasters, Rich Litvin. He encourages people to actually get good at imposter syndrome instead of avoiding it. When you're feeling imposter syndrome, it means you're challenging yourself. It means you are showing up big in the world. You're doing good stuff. Keep it going. Keep getting better at it. Team up with imposter syndrome and help it work for you. All right, thanks for listening, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please share this with 3 people you know that'll benefit from this information. And of course, I would be honored if you followed the podcast. It helps it grow and helps it get more positive information in the world. All right, have an awesome day and infuse your future.